by Christmas, we had 2 closed properties and 1 pending that we were almost firm on.
Yeah.
So within 3 months, we had 2 properties.
Wow, that's amazing. 2 properties, another one under contract?
Well,
now it's closed.
Now it's closed, yeah.
But that was within less than 90 days, in 3 months.
Yep.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Welcome to the Investor Mel and Dave Real Deal Show. My guests today are Rébecca and Mathieu from Ottawa. They're going to be sharing with you how they bought 2 properties in less than 90 days and now own 7 units. They actually ended up investing cross-provincially. And if you stay right till the end, they're going to be sharing a big mistake they made upon closing. Don't make the same mistake, so make sure to stay right till the end. And if you're brand new to my channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit the bell as well to get notified because we release a new video every week. And if you don't know who I am yet, I'm Mel with Investor Mel and Dave and I have purchased over 240 units in 5 countries. Canada, US, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Dominican Republic. We're the founders of the Action family, and we show you how to buy properties using none of your own money and without joint venture partners. Now let's get started. Rébecca and Mathieu, welcome to the Real Deal Show. I'm so excited to have you join me here today.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Now, we had the pleasure at meeting at a summit. Was that in Ottawa? Was it the Ottawa one?
In Ottawa, yeah.
In Ottawa with Kevin O'Leary. Dave and I were speaking on stage. We got the pleasure to meet you there. But please tell our members or our listeners here a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
Go ahead.
This is my wife, Rébecca. I'm Mathieu Leblanc. We presently live in Ottawa for the last 20 years or so, but originally we're from New Brunswick. We have 3 young boys. This year they'll be 7, 9, and 11.
Oh, you are very busy, especially with 3 boys. Wow.
That's right. We're in it. So for us, real estate, we started really in September of 2022 when we first joined the Action family. Before that, real estate was kind of maybe part of just quick discussions or anything like that, but we didn't grow up with real estate being part of any discussions. Financial planning wasn't really necessarily discussed. So at a certain point, I think last year, we thought we were doing all the right stuff, but really at some point we kind of noticed that we didn't really have anything to show for it. In our minds, we were doing all the right stuff, not going into debt, paying everything off, not doing anything risky. And then that's right. And at one point, we kind of realized that we always stopped doing anything, mostly because we had 3 kids, and we're saying, well, we can't risk anything because we have 3 kids, so we can't do anything risky. But at a certain point, we kind of realized that it was the opposite, right? We're doing something risky by not taking action or moving on to something different. So that's when we discovered the Action family, and after one phone call, we kind of said, let's do this, because we were afraid that if we didn't, that we would probably just chicken out or, not jump into action, because usually that's what would happen, right? We would talk a good game, and then we would just kind of talk ourselves out of it because we overanalyzed everything.
Yeah. And Mathieu, I love, and I want to hear your entire journey, of course, Mathieu, but before we jump into that, I love absolutely what you said here about not doing anything is also a risk, and we often don't realize that, and I've been definitely guilty of this as well, is that sometimes you think, oh well, is now the right time, should I wait, what are the risks involved, I'm not sure what I'm doing, all those kind of things, and we end up not taking action. But not taking action means that nothing's changing. If nothing changes, nothing changes, and if you're okay with that, then that's great. But if you're actually looking for a change, unless you do something different and take that little risk, and risk can definitely be reduced with proper education and knowledge and resources and all those things. I'm not saying to go out there and just try to do it blindly, of course, but I'm glad that you had that mindset shift, because without that mindset, then you wouldn't be here today, being able to share your journey. So please continue.
Well, it was mostly the guilty party in that. I'm very much risk adverse. However, like you said, like with knowledge, then you reduce your risk, the anxiety that goes with it and everything. And so, like you said, the kids became the reason to do this. For generational wealth, and all of that. So yeah, that was our reason. Our why.
So your big why, we often talk about your why, right? Finding your purpose on why do you want to do this? If you're going to go through this journey, what's the reason behind it? And that's going to really help you to stay focused. So for you as your three boys, and I'll dig a little bit and feel you don't have to answer anything you don't want to, but when you say generational wealth, what's the end game here? Is it just be able to pass on your portfolio? Is it be able to spend more time with them or travel? Or what are the things that are important to you guys?
Oh, all of that. We'd like to show them a different way of living their life. We were raised, you go to school, you get one job, you do that until you retire, and that's it. We want to show them that there's other ways of doing. You can be an entrepreneur, you can get into this market and do it this way instead. And I mean, they can still choose to do something else, but yes, we would like to hand down the portfolio. And for us, I mean, they're only young ones, and at a certain point, and maybe 5-10 years, they're going to be adolescents, might not want to hang out with us so much, but right now we'd love to have trips with them and spend more time, maybe work less at the day job and, be more available for them. That'd be ideal.
Yeah, so it's kind of multifaceted where there's the time for sure, but there's also like the lessons learned that we want them to kind of incorporate, even if they're maybe young at this point, but they can still absorb, even now they look at us and, are you still working on the houses? That's like, they just,
did we buy another house?
So it'll be good, once we go back, because like we're saying, we're in Ottawa. So maybe I'll go into the next, after we jumped through the, in the fire of real estate and kind of getting that knowledge. And I think what was key was just getting that network and being able to listen, to hear, to see what others were doing. It can be intimidating, obviously, as a new investor, but if you kind of keep your focus and kind of don't get too emotional, on things, you can it kind of helps you through your challenge. So so in September we jumped in with the Action family, and we had given ourselves our certain goals or points that we wanted to at least achieve in the first 30, 60, and 90 days. And the first 90, we had given ourselves let's try to at least have one property under our belt within 90 days if possible, which ended up being kind of at the end of the year. So we said look, it'd be great if by Christmas, we'd be able to, or New Year's, Christmas.
Yeah, a nice Christmas present. Yeah,
that's right. And and by Christmas we had 2 closed properties and 1 pending that we were almost firm on. So by Christmas, so within 3 months we had 2 properties, all within New Brunswick. As we're from New Brunswick, we know the market, we have family there, so we felt a bit comfortable. Even if it was out of province, we didn't really feel like it was out of province, because of that knowledge that we had.
I think financially also, to just jump in, it was easier for us to jump in that market. In Ottawa, things are pretty expensive, but the goal is still to have property here one day. We have to build the portfolio first. So
wow, that's amazing. 2 properties, another one under contract.
Now it's closed.
Now it's closed.
Now it's closed. Okay, but that was within less than 90 days, in 3 months. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So it's exciting, but it was quite.
We didn't sleep a lot.
You were busy, I'm sure.
Felt anxiety. It was all worth it at the end.
Let's talk about that, because this is normal as well, right? People think, okay, and this is what it's all about, having some real conversation about what happens, the good, the bad, and all that kind of stuff. Because in any business, there's difficulties, there's going to be roadblocks, there's going to be some stress, and there can also be a lot of amazing things that happen, a lot of successes, right? 2 properties in 90 days and whatnot. But how did you manage that, right? Because first of all, you had to go through all the learning curve, watch all my videos, watch the documents, all those kind of things as well. How long did it take you to do that?
I think we went through the videos.
All the videos.
We wanted to give ourselves enough time, right? With 3 kids, as you know, it's time consuming. So it's like ideally would have liked to work full time on real estate, but unfortunately we couldn't. But I don't know, within a week we probably had all the videos, or at least a month.
Well, me, it was a month.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Within a month, I think we both went through the videos. We had already started to kind of connect with real estate agents, brokers, accountants, lawyers to try to start building the team that we wanted to at least have that within the first 2 months. That was what we had given ourselves, like 2 months to create that team.
And then, well, the next step after that was really jumping on Facebook, which something we really didn't want, but has turned out to be wonderful because that's where we met everybody that ended up supporting us. You know, ask a question, you know, and we've been doing that to each other, all of us, you know, popping in a question, have you ever experienced this? Or what do I do about this? And so the community was really what got my anxiety to lower.
Being inside the community.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Well, it's funny, when Dave and I met, we both had a Facebook account, and then we got off social media completely, both of us, for a while. So we weren't in that world whatsoever. And then we decided for business purposes that there's definitely potential if we use our time on social media wisely and strategically.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you guys did as well, right?
It's so true. It's so true.
Not to gossip, but to get things done and to learn and to grow and to network, which is fantastic. Okay, those two properties, now are they single dwellings? Are they multifamily?
No, so it's a duplex and a triplex that we bought in northern New Brunswick.
It was a package deal.
Yeah, kind of package deal. Yeah.
Okay.
We made an offer for two at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
We tried to. Yeah.
Right.
And,
use that as part of your negotiation, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
We tried. Anyway.
Yeah, and that's one thing too, like, because when we first started to look, we had to kind of decide, as all investors know, like shiny objects they're everywhere, and you can easily kind of lose track of everything and get sidetracked on lots of stuff. And we had decided that because we were doing kind of a 180 completely on how the mindset, we wanted to kind of start kind of dipping our toes into the real estate world. So we kind of went into like long-term buy and holds. You know, we wanted to look at properties that were kind of somewhat in good shape, established, didn't have to do too much work because out of province, and kind of everybody is in a different position when it comes to real estate, but that's where we were at that point.
And we went through probably over 50 matrices to go, you know, until numbers worked, and we really felt that the numbers work, we feel comfortable and all of that, and so which permitted it to actually make an offer.
And that's great, and that's part of doing your due diligence, right? Reducing the risk. That was kind of the first thing we talked about during the show. Is that, okay, how can you reduce the risk? Well, you want to do it strategically. If the deal didn't make sense, and I know you use our cash flow matrix, but if the pillars were red, I'm sure you wouldn't have purchased the property, or you went back and renegotiated one of the two, because again, you're in it for the long term, and the pillars, you know, you want to make sure that over time, your global portfolio, if you're buying more than one property, is sustainable as well. And that's how you'll really be able to continue as well.
That's right.
And actually that offer wasn't even, it's our first purchase, but it wasn't actually the first offer we had made because something worked on another property, and all of a sudden we had to pull out. And, you know, we were, like we said, you don't want to get emotional about it, but we so wanted a property in our hometown. And so we even had our parents go in and, can you FaceTime us and show us the place? And we went through everything, and the numbers worked up until red flags starting to pop up. And we were actually quite proud that we actually stepped away from it, not force anything. You know, if it didn't feel right, well, we got out. We really wanted that first property, but you know, too many things were starting to happen.
Too many red flags.
Yeah, and when that happens, I think you feel more comfortable. When you see you're comfortable in one deal, then you know, we have a better sense of what feels right. So these ones felt right. Yeah.
Well, you have to be okay to walk away, because once you start doing your due diligence, find a great deal, the numbers make sense, awesome. Well, now does the property itself, as you're doing your due diligence, does it make sense? Is there any red flags, like you said? Because again, and it's not a great feeling having to get a little bit like, I was so close. But now, and that's in the moment, that will pass after a couple of weeks, right? After a couple of months, like, okay. And it's funny how sometimes down the road things changes, maybe somebody else takes over, fixes any issues, or renegotiates, so there's always opportunities, who knows, down the road as well for those kind of things. So, okay, so you have those two properties, but now you mentioned another one, continue your journey.
Yeah, well, all this it came super fast. So I think that's like if we start talking about tips and mistakes and stuff, I think that goes into it. But anyway, we were riding that wave of kind of being enthusiastic and kind of trying to get at it. And the third one was a property that we had looked at maybe a few months before, and just
even before the other properties.
Yeah, before the other properties, we really liked it. The location was great. The potential of it was really good.
But the numbers didn't work.
So the numbers didn't work, at that time. So anyway, fast forward a couple of weeks, we have 2 under our belts, and then we just noticed that property, and then the
price was going
at that point, the economy was kind of just going further and further down. So we said we'll just keep an eye out for that one anyway. We were just looking around, and then we just saw it again, and we just so happened to talk to the agent that was looking at it, and we're just like, hey, what's going on with that property? And he just said, well, they really, the seller was getting really
impatient.
Not impatient, but they were
really eager to sell.
So we made kind of an offer that using the matrix, that we were like, okay, much lower than asking, that would actually make sense and able us to do renovations, because that was the plan for this property, that they would need a bit of renovation in order to kind of just bring it up to present.
Yeah, to be able to put tenants in, because at its state you couldn't put anybody in it.
So we kind of did an offer, and it got accepted at the price, and we're like, okay, great. So then we worked on it, and it closed in January this year, and renovations took more time than anticipated to start, but they started last week. So things are moving along quite nicely. So,
and hopefully by May, maybe end of May, we'll be able to open the doors and get some people in there.
Awesome. So 3 properties. How many units is that one?
That's a duplex as well.
That was a duplex as well.
Yeah, and our plan is for short-term rental for that one. Just because of the location.
That'll be new as well. Another learning curve.
Right. Yeah, and that's okay, and that's exciting as well, being able to do different things. So that's great. 7 units.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Now let's dive into one, and congratulations. I mean, that's fantastic. Okay, if you were to think back in August 2022, and somebody said you're gonna get through your fears, gonna take some action, and you're gonna have 7 units, within the next X amount of months. I don't know, it was about 4 or 5 months by the time what would you believe them?
No.
Well, you would have.
No, not me.
I think I was more on the kind of the fence. I was like, but to say that I would have 7 units within 4 months, I would have said you're crazy. That's I don't think that's even possible.
Because I mean, we always talked about our conversation when it came to real estate was mostly around flipping. Like we've renovated our houses ourselves, mostly our own houses, and so we're very, I'm good in design, good in contracting, and and manual work. So we know we're very capable in that area. So we're talking more, flips and things like that. When it was popular in HGTV, it was all about flips, and things like that. And that's something that still interests us, that, when the economy or everything settles down. But that's the only thing I would have believed if somebody said, oh, you're helping renovate a place, or you're helping to flip a place, but to own 7 units, I don't think so.
And here you are. So that's fantastic. Now, how did you fund the deal? Were you using your own funds? Did you do a refi property? Did you do creative financing?
Well, I think ideally it would have been doing creative financing, but I think we just weren't ready, I guess, or we're just, I think it was too much, I guess, to attack at the same time. I think it would have been possible, but I don't think we had the energy to put into it at that time, with 3 kids, and then our full-time jobs, everything else. I think it was just a bit too much. So we did a HELOC on that, which was something that we've never done before either. Which was an option, so I think that was the game changer, and kind of helped us at least to get the funds for the down payments.
To get things started.
I think that's fantastic. You had and I mean, that's creative financing too.
Yeah.
It just happens to be the bank's money, which is great. Wisely, right? You still, even if it's a HELOC, you don't want to just borrow it and spend it. You want to be again strategic about how you're investing those funds. So
that's right.
But the goal still remains to, in the next properties, trying to do investments with other, so it's still in the plan. Yeah. We can't stick with our HELOC that much longer.
Well, if we can do 7 units in a couple of months, I'm pretty sure that is definitely doable as well. And we'll help you through your entire journey here. Let's dive into one of the deals. I don't know which one you want to dive in. If you have just some general numbers, and what made you decide to kind of go for that one?
Sure. Yeah, maybe we will do the first duplex that we got. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure what numbers you're.
Yeah, just kind of general, for to see the potential, like maybe the listing price and what was the potential. Did you have to do a lot of renovations on it?
Yeah, sure. Well, this is a duplex that we purchased for 155, so 150,000. I think they were asking for a bit more, but not too much. Because it was a package deal, right? So it was kind of trying to get what the total amount for the 2 buildings would be, and I think they were okay with the 155.
Yeah.
We tried to get it lower.
Yeah, we lowballed it, and they kind of met us in between.
Which is pretty good. What, 78,000 or so per door?
Yeah.
So
for the market, it was okay. It kind of went into what was there now. It made the numbers work with the income that was being provided.
Yeah, the rents were up to par.
Yeah.
So the flow was good.
Yeah, the rents that we were able to get did the 1%. The good old 1% rule. It was above that, so it's at a quick glance it kind of made sense. And the interest rates have come up since we bought it. So, but I think that goes to show that if you do your numbers right and you're conservative with your percentages for your interest rates. Even if it does come to, it goes up, at least you still know that it cash flows, which it still does.
Yeah.
Even if it has went up maybe 0.75 basis points since we actually bought it. So.
But in the matrix, we did put higher.
Yeah.
Just to see that, because we knew there was a trend going up. So we actually put higher just to make sure that even if it went up, we're still making money.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I love doing that, having extra layers of protection, right? When underwriting deals, you want to have those extra buffers in. I think that's a great idea. I always like to have more money coming my way than not enough, right?
Yeah. And as far as renovations, it didn't need anything.
Nice.
It had already had a certain amount of renovation done to it. Lately we had one vacancy, somebody left, and for that 2 weeks that we had in between, we were able to paint and fix a few things, which made it easy for the next person to come in. So like we said, we wanted something that was already established, something that didn't need too much. So we were able to get that. That was appealing to us too as well. Just being far away, we knew we couldn't do the property management or couldn't be there on site. So we wanted something established already, and this ticked all the boxes. So. And
there's still room for renovations.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So when the time comes, maybe we'll do some upgrades as well.
Maybe a nicer kitchen or a few windows, things like that, but no gut jobs.
Okay. So you cash flowed from day one.
Yep.
And then obviously your plan is to buy and hold this property. So you purchase it for 155. In 5 years or in 10 years is going to continue to increase in value, as real estate always does, despite the up and down of fluctuations that happens. And then you're still cash flowing from day one, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's nice. And, we'll probably refinance at a certain point to get that, equity back into the HELOC, but there's no rush, which is something I think too, as a new investor, you think you have to buy, renovate, and refinance within 6 months. It doesn't have to be that way, and that's through discussions with other investors that you kind of get that kind of it's slow down. It's not a race, right? Every deal is different, so you have to make sure that you do the proper steps.
Well, exactly. And in between, there's different tasks that you have to do, right? Oversee the property manager, make sure your books are up to date, all those kind of things. As well. And the refinancing part it will vary for every single deal. And not every deal you should refinance. If somebody says, Mel, should I refinance after 1 year or 3 years or 5 years? And It depends. Show me the deals. Show me the performance. Where are you at? What are your goals? Do you have another property you're going to put that money into, or are you buying a boat? Well, if you're just going to use that money for something else, that's not, providing you with extra income, unless you already have this huge portfolio, probably not the right time to do those kind of things. And you're bang on. The timing is important, and your goals as well. If you find a perfect property where that a couple of years you can make an extra 100 or 200 off that one, it might be worth refinancing sooner than later. But sometimes it's okay not to, and that's literally what Dave and I do as well with our portfolio. We'll look at the properties, and we'll look at everything into consideration, right? Look at the bigger picture. Okay, well, when do we have to pay the money back on? What's the interest rate on? Do I have another property that I really, really want to invest in that I could use some of those, those kind of things as well. So it's really looking at the bigger picture, but you're bang on. It's definitely not a race, it's a journey. And you're going to have some quick growth sometimes, then it slows down a little bit. At least that's been my personal experience as well. And I love that you'll be, that you can see some shift as well, right? You're talking about short-term rentals as well. Any interest in going outside of Canada down the road, or foreign countries even?
I don't know, maybe at this point, maybe a couple of months ago, I would have said, you're crazy. I never would. But now I'm like, yeah, maybe. I mean, that's...
Because now we know people who are doing it.
Yeah.
So knowing people, again, it's your community, right? So if we know people, we could talk to them and see, if it works or it doesn't for us. So having those people there will make the difference if we want to or if we don't want to jump into that market.
Yeah. So since September, I think we had our mind blown like so many times, busting walls that we thought were there, but that was complete just not knowing.
Yeah.
And now there's so many doors available that now it's more of the difficulty is kind of trying to focus on one door at a time and kind of making sure that you don't try to kind of overspend yourself everywhere, because you could easily I think that's been one of our challenges. I know for me has been like not chasing all the shiny objects that kind of come up, and kind of just focusing.
That's hard, right? When you see all these different things and this person's doing this, I should do that, or this person's doing this and I should do that too. And really it's my advice on that would be really come down to what your why is, and this bringing you closer or further from where you want to be. And the reality is we all have different whys. Some people love to travel, some people don't want to travel as much. Some people want a lot of units, some people are looking more after cash flow or want to be even more passive, and things might even Dave and I, our goals have naturally changed throughout the years as well, and it's okay to shift as you grow as a real estate investor. And the nice thing about it, it's almost easier to shift the more you grow, because you have more flexibility within your global portfolio as well. So
that's why you need kind of a game plan. It keeps you focused. So that's why at first it was 3 months, 6 months, the next year. And so at the beginning of the year, we've already made our objectives for this year. Right. So that helps you focus, because if you see something that doesn't actually fit with what we're trying to do, then you can let it go.
Exactly.
So
love that. Great.
Yeah.
Let's jump right into the real deals question. So question number 1, what's your biggest real estate investing mistake?
Well, that would have to do, obviously the first one was not starting quickly enough, this journey. But the example will be that last property that we bought.
Okay.
So like we said, we're in Ottawa. This property is in our hometown. So we were quite excited to get that first property in our hometown. And we were going to be there for the holidays. So our idea was, this is great. We'll try and close while we're there. We'll go in, because we knew, like I said, you can't get tenants in there until you renovate. So let's get in there right away and start, getting some cabinets out and things like that. So our closing was way too short. So that was our first mistake. We didn't really give ourselves enough time. I think we were excited about it. We ended up having difficulties with the bank. And so we just didn't give ourselves enough of a buffer. And our second mistake with that same property was knowing that it needed renovation. By closing time, we still didn't have a renovation team. And so that means that you don't know how long you're going to carry the property until, can I find somebody and when can they start? Right. So I would recommend, having had a longer closing period, we would have more time to find these people, which we now have, which is great. But we still had to carry about a month and a half because we weren't quite ready with the renovation team. And I know these days it's hard to get a renovation team, they're so in demand, but I guess that was our mistake, closing without a team behind and in place. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I love that. This is great advice. And thank you for being transparent on that. And where, you just don't leave enough time. And I do find even more so after the pandemic that you need even more time and things seem to delay in one end quite often, more than I've ever seen in all my years of investing. So having that extra, and I know it's hard because I always like, well, let's get it closed.
Yeah.
I'll remember.
And you don't want to lose the deal too, right? Say, oh, if I ask too much time, will they say no? And, so there's so many little things and but more time is better.
And finding those contractors, I agree. Sometimes it can be a little bit challenging, but it can be done. And sometimes you just need a bit of time in finding them. And then, you might not get them today. And if they're good, they may not be available today, and that's okay. But having that buffer.
At least when you have a better idea of how much you'll have to carry and things like that. You can put that in your budget.
And I think that's where networking is also important. Because that's through the networking that we found someone. So that's, I think, one of the bonuses of being a part of Action Family or any other networking is being able to get those recommendations or at least names.
Well, in your group with other investors who are doing exactly what you're doing as well.
Yeah, that's right.
It's very important to have that. That's great. I love your feedback on that. Question number 2: what's one tip you'd like to share with our listeners?
This is for us, and I think because it speaks true to I think my type of personality and probably lots. It's not to be emotional, and I've said it before, not to be too emotional and trying to chase shiny objects. I think that for me anyway is a big challenge, because I've as a new investor, when we first started, I was like, oh my God, we can do BRRRR, we can do flips, we can do JV, we can do land development, building development, long-term, short-term, mid-term. I was like,
There's so many options, yes.
And every week there was a new, a new opportunity or a new workshop. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so I think for me, a good tip is before you really dive into it and you make your first purchases is kind of really establishing. And I think we talked about it, what's your why, what's your plan, and kind of how you want to move forward within it. Because I think if you don't start off with that in mind, it's really difficult, maybe not for all, but I think to stay focused on your things. And I think if you didn't establish your 30, 60, 90 or 1 year plan, you can easily get distracted, and then after that it just kind of a snowballs into
and then your experience might not be as as good. You may just end up leaving the whole thing. You make too many mistakes, and then maybe you just drop out of the whole thing, right?
So you're no longer following the plan. You're going, I'm going to take this detour and hope that it works out, and never the plan in the first place. Do you write down your goals?
Yes,
we did. Yeah. Which is something that we always talked about, but we never did. But this so Rébecca talked about it, this year we really, with 3, we wanted the first half of the year. Normally we'd do shorter, but I think with everything that's going on, we had decided we'll do the first half is just kind of
finishing up that last property, making sure all 3 are well established. And then we can move on to the next phase, because so about another month, renovation should be done. When we get people in there, then we'll feel comfortable moving to the next one. And we'd like that next one to be commercial. It'd be nice to be able to jump into commercial.
Okay. Now let's clarify commercial, because it has 2 different.
Sorry, 5 plus.
5 plus. Sorry, 5 plus.
Okay, so 5 and over. Okay, perfect.
5 and over.
Yes.
I remember my first time when it was the commercial world, and it was, again, it's that roadblock until you do it. And did it come with fear? Yeah, because I'm no longer, it's not just a duplex or triplex now, it's and it's really not that bad. It's the financing changes a little bit, there's a little thing, but you guys know all that as part of that. But once you do it once, okay, that's a lot of things are the same, especially you already have a bit of property management experience overseeing them and those kind of things as well, right? So that'll be exciting to do that. Are you thinking New Brunswick again?
I think so. I think our plan is to maybe have 1 or 2 more properties in New Brunswick, and I think that portfolio will be kind of
wrapped up
for that, because we bought under our corporation So I think once those are done, I think the corporation will be satisfied and kind of at a good place that we can maybe shift maybe to Ottawa or
that'd be nice.
Another.
Yeah.
But I say that maybe it'll change and
you'll have to write down your goals and evaluate and do it very strategically, right?
Yes. But those are the goals for this year. So yeah.
Awesome. Mathieu, Rébecca, last question. Where can people reach you?
Well, we're on Facebook now.
There we go.
Under Rébecca and Matt Menard-Leblanc. We also have an email. It's ml5corporations@gmail.com.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on our show today. We appreciate you. You're a wonderful couple. It was such a pleasure meeting you in person in Ottawa a couple months ago. It's great seeing you here again. And we're actually having an Action Family reunion later this year. More details to come soon. But hopefully we'll get to see you there as well.
Sure.
For sure.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations. Bye for now.
Thank you.
What a pleasure speaking with Rébecca and Mathieu. I love how within a matter of months, they took action on their goals. So if you've been thinking about getting into real estate, but you have some fear around it as well, I hope you know that that's definitely normal. And there's also a way to get the proper support and have access to our Action Family community. And if you're interested, I'll make sure to include a link in our description below for you to check out and book a call with one of our team members. If you've been inspired by Rébecca and Mathieu and you want to learn more about real estate investing, make sure to check out this next video. I'm Investor Mel, and I'll see you there.